Hello and welcome back to the Wisdom for Humanity podcast. My name is James Malins. I am the Wisdom Guide, and we are going to be helping you to get from your present state to your desired state through knowledge, wisdom, and real life experiences. So today I'm joined by the absolutely fantastic Paul Greene. We are here with episode number 5, and we're going to be talking about transitioning from the present state all the way to the desired state. So I'll give you a little bit of a background of Paul Greene. He is a life coach, and he's getting himself out there with motivation for you. You'll be able to follow him. We'll also discuss those at the end of the podcast, so stick around for that. And he's doing absolutely fantastic content all across social media, helping people to get from where they are exactly to where they want to be with all of the wisdom and knowledge that he can bestow. So how are you doing today, Paul? Are you okay?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, James?
Yeah, fantastic. I'm absolutely great. It's fantastic to have you on, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on the call today.
I appreciate you having me, buddy.
All right, Paul, so we'll get straight into the episode. Now, the first thing that we're going to be talking about today is the tools and the resources. So when it comes to getting from our present state to our desired state, a lot of the time we just need a set of tools and we need a set of resources that are going to help us to get to where we want to be. So do you want to start with that, Paul?
Yeah, so I mean, it seems a lot more difficult than it actually is. Everything in life is mindset. So the current state that we're all in right now is real life, everyday life. When we start to use our brains and think about where we want to go, who we want to be, what we want to achieve in life, in a nutshell, that's your desired state. So in order to get from your current state or present state to your desired state, you need to do a few things. And obviously you need to come up with a goal. Now, the hardest thing about coming up with a goal is the idea is easy. Putting it into action is what the hard part is, as well as staying motivated while doing so. So a lot of times in life, I like to kind of make an analogy like human beings are a lot like automobiles. You need food, you need water, you need sleep, you need all different types of tools to help you be successful just for everyday living. A car is the same way. So you need gasoline, you need a motor, you need oil, and you need a gas pedal in order to accelerate. So when it comes to putting forth the effort to reach our desired state, we need to have these resources to use on a daily basis and stay fresh in our mind where it keeps us motivated. Us as people, unfortunately, get all excited about a certain goal or a certain lifestyle that they want to live or desired state, if you would. And, we're 100% in. We go 100 miles an hour for the first half mile, and then all of a sudden, boom, it stops, and we lose muster, we lose motivation. And why is that? James, why do you think that is, in your opinion?
No, it's a really good point, and some of the fantastic things you said there is, making us as a likeness to cars and machines, which is brilliant, because it's so true, and there's actually something, especially in an episode before when I was talking about the brain and being very closely mirrored to a heat-seeking missile. So if you haven't checked that out in an episode, then that's a very interesting one to do with the inner self. And I think that it comes down to a few different factors, one of them being that the goal or the desire wasn't actually strong enough. So, a lot of people, when they look at this motivation, well, they look at how hard it's going to be and how long it's going to take them. And unfortunately, we are in a very instant gratification type of society where, everything's super fast, everything's get it in 30 seconds, everything's, get it right in your hands right now. And as much as that's fantastic, it's great to have next day delivery with Amazon. It's great to have fast food. It's great to have things that we can spend time doing what we love. It's also a little bit detrimental when it comes to getting from our present state to our desired state, because we forget that it takes time. It takes time, it takes understanding, it takes a little bit of pain sometimes, a little bit of pain and suffering. Sometimes you've got to go into the dark places. You've got to be working by yourself from up to 2, 3 in the morning. I did that last night, so I know all about that. You've got to be sometimes deprivating yourself of certain luxuries so that you can get to where you want to be. So I think that in answer to your question, Paul, it's really important that people realize that as much as there is a lot of instant gratification in the world, when it comes to your goals and dreams, the vast majority of the times, I never like to make a total complete statement, but the vast majority of the times it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy road. It's not going to be a straight road. If you want to turn it into a metaphor and visualize it, if you want a straight road, Don't go for any really big desires. If you want to be a millionaire, it is never going to be a straight road. You know,
Absolutely.
you're gonna be going down the road. You'll meet somebody who takes you off to the left. You'll take a detour. You'll come back on the road, and that's just how it is. You know, that's how this life is. It's about having fun with the journey. You know, even the tough times, even the difficult times, it's still fun because you're learning about yourself, you're growing, and you're becoming a more well-rounded human. So that was a fantastic way for you to take it down there, Paul. So I want to bounce that question back at you, and for the viewers and their perspective as well. What do you think is some factors that stop people from being motivated?
Well, I think you had a lot of good points there. Instant gratification is huge in the human society because, let's face it, a lot of people don't have the patience that it takes to achieve what they want to achieve. And just like you said, I mean, the most important part of, reaching a different state is enjoying the process and embracing it, because that's who builds us up. And that's, believe it or not, you could manifest in your mind that you wanted to be an airplane pilot, and that was your lifelong dream, and that's what you wanted to do. So you take action on it, and you're working towards that dream, and all the steps forward in life that you're taking to get to that goal, maybe something changes along the way, and maybe you want to be a helicopter pilot instead. It's about embracing the journey and growing with it, and I think that's how we can definitively establish our desired state, because in order to go through the bumps and bruises, the ups and downs, you need to embrace that and feel that in order to know what your true desired state is. I mean, anybody can say, I want to be a millionaire, but it's not like just walking to the ATM machine and taking $1 million out. It doesn't work that way. There's a process involved. It's just like you said, hard work, bumpy roads, and a lot of obstacles. So I think that's one of the main reasons why people get demotivated, if you would, when it comes to reaching that desired state.
Absolutely, and there's a couple of really fantastic things you said there, Paul. One of them being the plan and taking action. So when it comes to having plans, they're all well and good. Like you said, Paul, you might want to be an airplane pilot. You might want to be a dancer on Broadway. You might want to be a stockbroker in Wall Street. But as you go along your journey and you learn some new truths, okay, episode 1, you learn some new truths about what it is your life is all about, who you are as a person and what you stand for, you might end up going from wanting to be a dancer on Broadway to being a ballet dancer, or to being a tap dancer, or coming over to the UK, or going down to Latin America and being a professional bachata dancer. So it's a really interesting thing when we look at it, right? It's you've got to understand that it's great having a plan. Plans are really important, but plans change. And, you could have a block of a plan. So for the people watching the video on YouTube, here's a bit of meta analogy for you. You could have a block plan here, and then you could have a block plan in the middle and a block plan to the right. And as you're going through your journey, you're taking up and changing those as you're going along. You're changing those plans, and it's getting you to where you want to be. And secondly, one fantastic thing Paul said, and I hope you guys picked up on it, was taking action. All right, there are a lot of people, they've got these massive dreams of being a billionaire, and yet 6 months have gone by and all they've done is researched how to better their bank account. Okay, right. And they've not gone to any trouble to figure out what they're passionate about, what they can make money in, and how they can turn their passion into something that everybody wants. So it's really important to understand that and get ourselves to the position where we're taking that action.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's like you said, things are going to change on a daily basis, and that's all about what the whole growth process is, and that's how we, truly establish who we are and where we want to be. So there's a lot of really, really good points there, So.
No, definitely. And so the next thing we've got on the podcast, and I just want to point out as well, guys, that this podcast structure was given to me by Paul, so you can definitely give him a follow and thank him for that. Again, we'll get to that at the end. But the next thing we've got is being laser focused. Now, tell me what you mean by that, Paul.
Well, laser focused is exactly what it sounds like. I mean, we often come up with these dreams or these goals and aspirations, and we lose focus on what we really want. Now, when being focused on something, it becomes almost an obsession. And you could sit in front of your laptop and you want to figure out how to edit videos. And if that's something you're really passionate about, you get laser focused on it, and you could sit there for 4 or 5 hours at a time and just mess with it and go over it and over it and over it until you perfect it. And that is just a simple interpretation of being laser focused. For myself, laser focused at the gym, I want to increase the size of my biceps, or I want to get more defined in my abs. You need to come up with a plan. So it's something. It's very, very simple, just like we spoke about previously. Coming up with a plan, taking action, and executing. And it's going to be painful. You're going to do it. But being laser focused with it is, whether you feel like crap every day, whether you feel amazing every day, whether the sun's shining, whether it's snowing, whether it's raining, whether it's a tornado outside, you're still going to find a way to get there because you're so laser focused on achieving that goal. So, I mean, that's just a simple analogy, and it goes with anything in life, any goal, any task that you want to achieve. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And it's really important for you guys to understand and listen to that. When Paul said about the biceps and abs, maybe you want to take a few inches off your waist. Maybe you want to improve your traps or your shoulders or your back. You've still got to have a plan. Maybe you want to get a new car. You've got to have a plan. Maybe you want to go ahead and totally transform your garden and have some beautiful flowers over in the side, and you've got these trees of it. You've got to have a plan to do it. You've got to plan out where you're going to put what kind of space you need, what kind of plants you want to put in there, the soil, the food, and this comes to everything. It doesn't mean that you've got to structure out your entire 40-year, 50, 60, 100-year life and have everything set that you're going to do this when you're going to do it. That's a little bit much, but it just means that setting that intention and having the idea that, hey, I want to get a bit more reach, so guess what? I'm going to do a podcast. Okay, so I set the plan in place to do a podcast, and here we are. And then everything that comes with a podcast, it was all planned. It was all planned and instrumented it, and this is what it means. So, there are a lot of times in life where you won't have a plan. Okay, you'll be going down to London, you'll be going down to do something, and yeah, the plan might be a little bit obscured there. You might not know who you're going to meet, but it's all about setting that intention. When we come to the law of attraction, another key word Paul mentioned was obsession. All right, if you want to get to your desired state, you have to have a level of obsession about it. Now, why do I say that? Because obsession's a word that's very often associated with a negative connotation or associated with a very negative vibe. Well, obsession doesn't have to be negative. You could be obsessed about becoming a millionaire. Fantastic. Why? Because you're going to be thinking about it all the time. You're going to be thinking about how to become a millionaire. You're going to be thinking and manifesting and creating the opportunities that are going to get you to the point where you're a millionaire. So it's, when we look at especially some of the fantastic things that Paul has just mentioned, this is why it's so important to understand, to have a plan, to take action, to be a bit obsessed about it. It doesn't mean to have obsession to the point where you're in your room scribbling it all over the walls and, you're going a little bit insane, right? That's okay. That's a bit too much. But having that obsession where you're thinking about it 50, 100, 150 times a day, fine. Why are you going to be thinking about it 150 times a day? Because you're working in that mental environment. You're doing a podcast. I'm thinking about it now. I'm thinking about it about 9 hours through the day. All right. Every waking minute, I'm thinking about, all right, so what am I going to record now? Got to edit this. Got to do the metadata. Got to do the graphics. Put it on here. Upload it there. Get the RSS feed. Blah 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 blah. Do the show notes. Okay. So it's that constant thought process that's going to make this, hopefully, with the love and care of you beautiful people watching, a success. So this is where we understand the obsession and some of the brilliant points that Paul has just made. Thank you so much for those, Paul. All right, guys, so what we're going to do next, and we're going to go on to the fifth point that Paul has today, is celebrating the small wins to get to that desired state. Tell us a bit more about that, Paul.
So basically, celebrating the small wins is part of the journey, right? In order to feel motivated, to stay true to your goal and stay true to yourself, every small step forward is a win. So whether it be let's put it this way: somebody that suffers from schizophrenia is afraid to go outside, and they decided that they wanted to make changes in the right direction. This is a really good analogy because it's basically from going from dark to light. So if you're afraid to go outside and you build up and muster enough courage to say, today's my day, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get up, I'm going to be productive, and I'm going to go outside and I'm going to check the mail. Something as simple as that. And they walk outside, they check the mail, and then they go back inside. Now what that is that's a small win, because yesterday you couldn't go outside because your mind told you couldn't. So in a very, very simple manner, You just manifested a different state. You just changed your state. You went from being in your current state, which was scared, alone, in the darkness, to your desired state, which was that mailbox outside. Although it's only 15 feet away from you, it's still outside, and it's still a change of your mindset, and you just accomplished something. So something very simple like that is a perfect example of, trust every step, move forward with every step. Every step's a win, and you keep building up, and every win that you make equals one big win at the end. So that's just a huge part, and that's my take on it, and I'm curious to see what you have to say as well.
No, to be honest with you, Paul, you just turned that into the most perfect example I could imagine. Especially when it comes to understanding that when we had a chat about that straight road, okay, just previously in the episode we talked about the straight road, it's little steps. If you were to take a 150-mile road, you couldn't jump that in one go unless you were the Hulk, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you've got wings, right? And you can just flap your wings and fly 150 miles. It's just not going to happen. So a lot of people, they see where they are, and they see that, okay, let's just take the example of schizophrenia or OCD, or being housebound, and they want to be on stage. They've got a dream, and they always had a dream of being on stage. Well, from going from being housebound and afraid to leave to going on stage, that's monstrous. That's the 150-mile jump, right? You can't do it. So it's little steps. And imagine, going out and going to the letterbox and proving to yourself that you can do it. Right? Because this is what it's all about. A lot of people, you've got this limitation. Okay, you've got this limitation set across your mind that you can't go out the house. Well, hang on a minute. Well, if this limitation that you can't go out the house is true, then how did you just go out to the letterbox and back? Then you think to yourself, oh, well, I've just been to the letterbox and back. Well, what if I go down to the store and back? All right, and you get down to the store and everything starts to kick in, the anxiety builds up, and you got to go, that's fine. Because guess what? You still took those steps down to the store. You went to the letterbox, you went past the letterbox all the way down to the store and came back. Well, hang on a minute. Well, you had that limit. You couldn't even leave the house. Now you can go down to the store and back. So it's a real perfect example, Paul. It's fantastic. And for everyone who's listening and watching, other examples would be your job. Okay, you're in a job and you're stacking shelves. I've been there. Right, it's not bad. It's not bad. You get paid to stack shelves. No, it's not the most strenuous job in the world, but you want to be a manager in it. So what steps do you need? Getting from being a shelf stacker where you've been there for a week to getting to the manager of the regional manager of the area, that's a big, big jump. But how do you get there? Develop relationships with the managers. Take an understanding of them. Try to figure out where they are and where they want to be and help them to get there. Because I guarantee you, if you help your managers to get to where they want to be, guess what? They're going to take you with them. Sometimes they might not, but we're not going to be thinking about that right now. We're going to think about people who have got that conscious understanding. And listen, if they don't take you with them, guess what? That's a message and a sign that you need to go somewhere else. You need to go to a different job, a different place, and you need to get yourself to somewhere where you're absolutely supposed to be. So, and super, super fantastic point there, Paul. Really, really loved that. Absolutely. That was phenomenal. So, what we're going to do now is I want to finish on one sort of final question for you, Paul, and that is when it comes to people staying motivated and going to where they want to be and getting to where they want to be and who they want to be, what would be your recommendation, whether it's following you or anything that you've done to help you stay on track with some of your past endeavors?
Well, you could definitely follow me. You could definitely reach out to me anytime. That's first and foremost. For myself, I stay motivated by keeping the fire burning inside. Always wondering what's next. Always wondering if I'm going to do something. Even though I manifested that I'm going to do something, I'm always wondering if today is going to be the day. So keep it fresh in your mind, and always keep it as, that carrot is just slightly out of your reach, but I'm going to reach for it anyway, and one of these times I'm going to grab it. So just stay focused with what your goal is, and push. It's not going to be easy, because if it were easy, then we'd all have it. But push for it. Stay true to it. Believe in yourself most of all, because if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to leave the state that you're in and enter the wonderful, beautiful mindset that you actually truly deserve to be in. It's all 90% of it is your mind. 10% of it's physical. Our brain tells us what our bodies can do, and our brain's going to tell us to reach for that carrot and keep reaching for it. And eventually, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get it. So stay true to your course. Trust your brain. Trust your mind. Believe in yourself most of all, and keep pushing.
I love that. That's such a beautiful, an absolutely beautiful notion. And it comes down to a lot of really important things. And myself and Paul met a little while ago, and we've been real solid friends since then. And when it goes to getting to where you want to be, surround yourself with the right people. For my final note, guys, who are listening, surround yourself with the right people. Get the right people in your vicinity. Get the right people who are supporting you. And if anybody says that what you're doing is garbage, if anyone starts laughing at your dreams and your goals, and I've had that, all right, I've had that, ask yourself a real serious question. Do they really support you? Are they really there for you? Do they really care about you? Are they really backing your corner? And I'm not saying this is an extreme, ask them the question. All right, you're just taking a minute. Well, how do you think? What do you feel about it? And if it isn't an answer that makes you feel good, then you're in control. You've taken back control of yourself. You've empowered yourself, and ultimately, you are the one who makes the decision as to what life you lead and how you leave it. So, Paul, on a final notion, where do you want to be in the next, 5-6 months?
The next 5-6 months, I want to be more of an audience presence to people all over the world. Obviously, that's my desired state. So I'm going to set my goals to be there. And I may reach it, I may not. But I'm going to keep pushing for it regardless. I also like to do some public speaking, get more involved in my life coach business that I've just started recently. And my long-term goal is to meet you, James, is to either fly out there or you fly here. And, I think that'd be some serious magical energy that we'd put off on the world if you and I got to collaborate.
I agree with you, and I think that long-term one is going to be a bit shorter than we expected to, because we're working hard, guys. We're working hard for you, bringing you what you need, and we're going to be really making the moves. And like I say, guys, so Paul, I'll ask you the question, just on the final question. Where can everyone find you?
So I'm on Facebook. Just look up Paul Greene. I have 2 pages. One's a personal page, and the other one is my Motivation for You page. You'll see it's a big red banner in the background. Just click on that one. Follow me. I so appreciate my followers. Also on Instagram, you can reach me at motivationforyou_Paul Greene. I'm always posting good stuff on there, and I also have a YouTube channel as well. So you just pretty much type in the search name for Paul Greene, look for my wonderful face that is showing up here and there, and you can find me there. And I appreciate anybody that hears this and follows me. Message me. I'll reach out to you. Myself, like James, we always answer our messages all the time. May not be right away, but we do it as fast as we possibly can. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Love it. And so listen, guys, I will put all of those links in the show notes. So if you don't want to go out and search them, then you will have an easy way of getting in contact and following Paul. Just go to the show notes of the podcast. You will see those links in there. I'll provide the link to all of his social medias. And listen, from myself, make sure if you haven't already, go and follow the ManyChat link. That'll be there in big capital letters in the show notes as well. You'll be able to check that out. And thank you to every single one of you who has tuned in to us today. I appreciate every single one of you. Get ready for the next episode. It's going to be fantastic, and for some of the guests that we have in the future. So, Paul, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate you immensely. Take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you later.